I'm Mike Birch. I just hired in here at Hometown Motors. I've been browsing through this set of reference books and getting acquainted with Master Tech. My new boss, Bill Woodhouse, is about to show me the ropes here at Hometown Motors.
I'm Bill Woodhouse, and I'm glad to have you men out there look over my shoulder while I orient Mike to some of our business building ideas and shop policies. I was just explaining to Mike that we've used a genuine interest in safe vehicles to build customer goodwill and extra service income.
Just in case you don't know me, I'm Master Tech. Since May is National Safety Month, a visit to Hometown Motors, where safety sense brings in service dollars, is real timely.
Thanks, Tech. Before we get back into the shop, Mike, I want to tell you about a routine we go through with every customer who comes in for service. After writing up his order, we hand the customer one of these courtesy check cards and explain that this is a free inspection we perform for all of our customers. As you can see, we worked out this list so we'd have a way to safety check a car's windshield wipers and lights in less than a minute. So, with the customer operating the controls and using this card as a guide, the order writer steps in front of the car and they check out the wipers and washers, parking lights, low beam, high beam, and the turn signals. Moving around to the back of the car, they check the tail lights and license plate light in all three switch positions: parking, low beam, and high beam. Then the backup lights, turn signals, and the stop lights.
Sure sounds like a good way to impress the customer.
That's right, Mike. It doesn't take long, and yet it demonstrates our interest in the customer's safety and in his car. But that's just a sample of what we do for customers in our continuous vehicle safety program.
What do you mean, continuous?
Simply this. The average owner doesn't have enough mechanical know-how to spot possible trouble before it happens. So we have a continuous job of keeping safety in mind with every car that comes in. And that's where technicians like you get into the act, Mike.
How so, Bill?
Well, as you take care of the items on the repair order, keep a sharp lookout for other items that might affect the car and owner safety. If you see anything that needs attention, make a note of it so we can discuss it with the customer.
Sounds like a real business builder.
It is. Now here's the checklist we furnish each of our technicians along with the repair order. But before getting into the details, let's go back for a minute to the courtesy check. If we find anything wrong that might affect the safety of the customer's car, we like to discuss it with him on the spot while he's in a receptive frame of mind. Suppose the windshield wiper blades were streaking, for example.
You'd use that for a lead-in, huh?
Right. Good visibility is mighty important, especially when you're driving at night. Many accidents that occur when the weather is bad are due to the driver not seeing what's ahead of him quick enough to avoid the accident. Wiper blades deteriorate gradually. So to get the best possible view of the road ahead, worn-out or hardened blade inserts should be replaced promptly.
Your customer demonstration sure beats asking, how are you fixed for blades?
It sure does, Mike. And speaking of wipers, here's another point. On single-speed wipers, be sure the arms are positioned on the pivots so the blades park 1 inch above the molding. Then the blade travel will be correct.
And I'd like to add this. On variable speed wipers, the blade should park against the molding. To get this position, adjust the motor switch plate and then loosen the arms on the pivot for final setting.
As you know, Mike, I don't smoke, but a lot of people do. Smoking in a car, particularly when the windows are kept closed, causes a film to form on the inside of the windshield and other glass and reduces visibility. Washing the inside of the glass more frequently, particularly the windshield, will give them better visibility. That film accumulates so gradually many people don't notice it.
We always ask the customer how his defrosters are working. They should defog the windshield in hot, humid, and rainy weather as well as in cold weather. To do the job, the damper doors must operate properly and the defroster hoses must be connected to the outlets. Now, keeping the rear window defogged is also important. If a customer frequently carries a full passenger load, there might be times when the window fogs so badly his vision is obscured. We suggest the installation of a rear window defroster.
I'd like to put in my 2 cents worth about rearview mirrors. Don't move them. If you move one accidentally, try to adjust it back to its original position. The customer will appreciate it.
In the course of everyday driving, springs tend to settle a bit, and the jarring on rough roads may cause the headlight aiming to change. This not only affects the illumination on the road, but blinds the oncoming driver. That's why it's good practice to have headlights aimed at least twice a year. These new aimers we use do the job in a jiffy and accurately, too.
Bill, isn't it about time you covered your safety countdown sheet with Mike?
Yes, it is, Tech. Now that we've covered the customer courtesy check, we'll get on to the other items right away. We'll take the checklist you have there. Notice we check the service and parking brakes under the hood and underneath the car. These items are all arranged to make the job simple yet quite thorough.
Do you road test every car, too?
No, it'd take a lot of time to make a complete road test. On late model, low mileage cars, this isn't necessary. By testing the brake pedal travel and the parking brake and asking the owner about the car's handling on the road, we can tell which cars should be road tested. Test the brake pedal. If it doesn't go down beyond 1/2 of the normal travel, it's considered all right. Below that, the brakes may need adjusting or relining. Next, test the parking brake. If pedal resistance builds up rapidly, you can be quite sure the parking brakes are okay. You can test the parking lock by letting the car roll very slowly and applying the lock. The lock should fully engage. If it doesn't, it requires an adjustment. Now, under the hood, we check the brake master cylinder fluid level. If it's exceptionally low, it might be due to a leak in the hydraulic system. When the car is on the hoist, we'll have a chance to check further.
Check the accessory drive belts to be sure they're in good condition. While these are not usually considered safety items, a belt failure on the highway would be mighty inconvenient for a customer. Besides, a stalled car is a safety hazard.
Well put, Tech. Another thing, make sure the windshield washer reservoir is full. And in cold weather, be sure it has enough solvent to keep the washer system from freezing. Here's another safety tip. I always make sure the hood lock mechanism is lubricated and that it latches securely with moderate effort.
I'll make it a point to do that, too.
Now, when we raise the car on the hoist, we have a good chance to see what needs attention underneath.
While Bill and Mike are putting the car on the hoist, will someone else please turn the record?
Now that we've got the car raised on the hoist, we can get a good look at what's going on underneath. Tires are a good place to start. Tread wear patterns can tell you a lot about car condition and the owner's driving habits. Slight spotty wear on the front tires is a natural result of free-rolling tires. This can be corrected by tire rotation at recommended intervals. Tires will give better mileage and they'll run smoother, too. Now, if there's excessive wear on the outside ribs, that's a sign that the tires have been running underinflated. On the other hand, excessive wear on the center ribs indicates overinflation. In either case, the customer should be cautioned to use the recommended pressures to get maximum safety and mileage from his tires. If there's excessive wear on one side, that's probably camber wear. In this case, we'd recommend that wheel alignment be checked and corrected.
Just a word of caution. Don't mistake cornering wear for camber wear. Cornering too fast wears all 4 tires at the outside ribs and roughens or scrubs the tread. The only safe and sane cure for that is slowing down on turns.
A feather edge tread pattern usually means toe-in isn't right. Here again, a wheel alignment check should be recommended.
How do these conditions figure in a safety check?
It's like this. Tires that run underinflated are more apt to break down and blow out. Traction is reduced by excessive overinflation. Of course, tires that are badly worn are apt to fail. In any case, the safety of the car and passengers is at stake, especially if a failure occurs at high speeds.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
One other thing, Mike. Keep an eye open for embedded glass, metal, tacks, or nails that might cause punctures.
I'll keep that in mind. What's next?
Well, next, we'd inspect the ball joints and tie rod ends for damaged seals. Torn seals can result in loss of lubricant. In addition, torn seals will allow dirt to work into the joints, resulting in excessive wear and looseness. It's a good idea also to check the tie rod ends for looseness. If they're excessively worn, replacement should be recommended to avoid handling problems.
Here's something else to remember, Mike. It's okay for the lower ball joint to have some axial or vertical free play when there is no weight on the wheel. Up to 50 thousandths of an inch is normal, so don't replace a lower ball joint unless the free play is more than that.
Here's another tip, Mike. If you have to replace an upper ball joint seal, make sure you use the proper seal installer so you won't damage the seal.
I'll remember that, Bill.
You can check for free play in the steering gear shaft and worm by putting the front wheel straight ahead and moving the steering gear arm back and forth. If there's any free play, you'd recommend that the gear be adjusted. While you're at it, grasp the idler arm and check for excessive looseness.
You sure have this safety inspection organized on a time-saving basis.
That he has, Mike. Now, here's a service warning. Whenever you remove the tie rod steering arm and idler arm ends, use the approved puller. If you don't, you're liable to damage the seals and might have to replace the tie rod end.
One more thing, Mike. Whenever we replace any steering linkage or suspension parts, we like to do a complete job by recommending that we align the front end and re-aim the headlights.
Sounds like a good idea, Bill.
Next, we inspect the brake lines. Look for signs of seepage at the connections. Check flexible lines for chafed areas. Inspect tubing for bends or pinched areas. In addition, check the brake dust shields for wet spots that might indicate a leaking wheel cylinder. Brake fluid on the linings will cause uneven braking and necessitate a reline job.
I get it. Catching a leak early may save the expense of a reline job.
On models with rear wheel parking brakes, be sure the cables are free in their housings. If the cables are sticking or are seized, recommend that they be freed up and lubricated.
Bill, while we're talking about brakes, why don't you tell Mike about the automatic adjusters?
I was just about to do that, Tech. If there is too much pedal travel on a car with automatic adjusters are not working the way they should.
What would I look for?
Check for a star wheel that won't turn. We've also had a couple of cases where the adjuster cable was too short, too long, or not installed properly in the cable guide.
I suppose you'd have to pull all 4 brake drums to locate the trouble.
You can find out which adjuster isn't working without pulling the brake drums. You'll find it easy to follow the instructions in the reference book.
Okay, Bill, I'll read up on it.
Anytime you have a brake drum off, it's a good practice to examine the lining and drum. That's particularly important on cars with a lot of mileage. If the lining is worn, the owner should know about it and buy the reline job here.
That's the way Safety Sense brings in service dollars. Now, if you find the parking lock doesn't engage, adjust the cable here at the transmission and at the control housing if necessary.
Okay. Does that about finish the inspection under the car?
Not quite. We always check the exhaust system. You know, a lot of highway accidents are caused by drowsiness that's brought on by a faulty exhaust system.
You wouldn't find that condition true on a comparatively new car, would you?
Well, that's true, but it takes so little time to check it that you wouldn't want to bypass it. We check the muffler, exhaust pipe, and tailpipe for holes or other signs of deterioration that might let exhaust gases seep into the car. In addition, we check the clamps carefully to be sure they're all tight at all connections. Exhaust gases escaping from loose connections are as harmful as those leaking out of holes in the system. Now, this is one of the 4 seatbelt anchorages. They are built in on all 1962 Chrysler-built cars.
That's a good idea. It sure simplifies the installation of safety belts in the field.
It sure does, Mike. And it also eliminates the need for drilling holes in the floor pan with the possibility of damaging the propeller shaft.
Okay, Tech. What's next?
Well, looks to me like we're going to get the good word from Mr. Glenn, your new top boss and the man who owns this dealership.
Hello, Mike. Bill and Tech explained how we use safety inspections to build customer confidence and service income?
They sure have, Mr. Glenn.
That's good. Getting off on the right foot is mighty important. Now, I'd like to tell you about a few safety items we cover with a customer when we deliver his new car. Here's a car we're delivering today. Mike, we encourage every new car customer to have seat belts installed. Of course, we make sure they know how to use them. Come on, you hop in the driver's seat and I'll explain what I mean.
You mean there's a right and wrong way to latch 'em?
Oh, there sure is, Mike. First, move the buckle along the strap to loosen the adjustment. Then push the tongue all the way into the buckle. When the buckle segments are properly engaged, you'll hear a very positive snap. Finally, take up the slack by pulling on the free end of the belt.
That buckle sure works slick.
Now, the controls on a new car are generally different from those on the customer's old car. We know it's important to acquaint him with the operation of all controls. For example, on power brakes, we suggest he use light foot pressure and try his new brakes cautiously before he gets into heavy traffic. That's particularly important for owners who haven't used power brakes before. We always tell the new owner about the parking lock lever and suggest he use it whenever the car is parked. It's positive and won't let the car roll. If the new car has power steering, we emphasize that this is a safety feature. If this is his first experience with power steering, we suggest he take it easy for a few miles until he gets the feel of the reduced steering effort. Bill and Tech told you about our courtesy check of lights and wipers. We encourage our customers to check these items frequently themselves. If everyone would do that, we'd see fewer cars on the road with unsafe lights. One last word, Mike. We really make certified car care work for us, too. You know the motto, service that saves. To us, that means regular maintenance service that saves the owner time and money in the long run. Makes his car safer, too. And that can save lives.
Let me just add this, fellas. Safety is a round-the-clock business every day of the year. It's a big responsibility for all of us who work around automobiles. So keep this thought in mind when you're working on a car. A human being is going to drive that car, and human beings are going to ride in it. Make sure that car is as safe as you'd want your own car to be. Somebody's life might depend on it.